Your intuition is always speaking to you, but do you listen to it? In this society, especially in the Western world, we have unlearned to listen to ourselves, to listen to our true selves. We're so disconnected from our spiritual nature and even disregard it, almost like it's not there. And this is causing so much suffering because we are spiritual beings. And when we return to what we truly are, that's when we remember who we truly are. That's when we live a life true to our soul. And it's so important. And this is what I want to dive into this video, in this video, how to strengthen your intuition, how to reconnect to it. For those of y'all who know, I'm a musician, I'm an artist, my name is Loheru, and I decided to start a separate channel to just share my thoughts, my insights, my experiences with you. So that I mainly can help you to reconnect to your intuition, because I feel it's so important that we as human beings fulfill our dharma, our soul's purpose, our soul's path, that we walk our soul's path. And I call it the way of law because it's about connecting to the, first of all, because my name is Loheru, but the deeper meaning of it is to connect to the laws of the universe, the law of nature, so that you can reconnect to your nature and ultimately fulfill your soul's purpose. With that being said, let's dive in. How do you connect back to your intuition? First of all, when your mind is always pacing, when you're always in the noise, it's hard to hear your soul speaking for you. It's hard to hear your intuition, because when it's always loud inside of you and loud out there, if it's loud out there, if it's loud inside of you, it's hard for you to hear what's going on inside. So the worst mistake that people make, most people in this society, the majority, is that they constantly spend time on the phone, especially in the rising time, especially in the morning time. The first thing they do is to grab their phone and they start the day immediately in someone else's life, or in some drama, or in some thing that's not related to the present moment, to their experience right now. And even if it's some problem that you're facing right now, if you start your day with this, you're gonna continue to attract more of this, because those are the most vulnerable states, and those are the states where your subconscious mind is wide open. It's most accessible. And if you program it with the same thing over and over again, that's what you're gonna see more of. So when you start your day grabbing your phone, you automatically are in the loop. You automatically are already out there. And the more you look outside of yourself, the more you give your power away. And when you return back to yourself, when you return back within, that's when you see the power that's inside of you, because we all have greatness inside. And inside is where you find all the solutions to your questions. So the first step I would say is to spend time in solitude. Consciously spend time in solitude by yourself, with yourself, especially in the morning time. Give yourself at least half an hour to just be, to reflect. Where am I? What am I feeling? What is going on in my life right now? What is it that I intend to create? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up into the in the world? How do I want to spend the day? How do I want to spend the day? How do I want to live my life? And what do I want to give? And when you spend this time with yourself, you automatically have more clarity and you're already more in tune with yourself. Another great way is to spend time in nature by yourself. Go for hikes alone. Go into the woods alone. Go into the forest alone. Go into nature parks alone and just spend time there. Because when you spend time in nature, you are in solitude and you reconnect to your nature, because we are part of nature. We just have forgotten it. But when you spend time in nature, you automatically start to slow down. You automatically start to gain more peace, because it's just who we are. We are a part of nature and we reconnected. And especially in the Western world, we are always in this concrete jungle. So it's important to reconnect to your source, to reconnect to your nature. And I think this is something that helped me the most to awaken this intuition, this connection to my intuition. Because in 2020, when everything was locked down, I always took my bike. I was going to the park. I rode to the park. I worked out there, and then I just sat under a tree and did nothing. I just meditated there and spent time with myself. And that's when I really started to learn to know myself. And I also started to spend more time with me. because there wasn't an option to spend time with people, and I also started to disconnect from more people where I just felt that it wasn't aligned anymore. But that's another topic. But to get back to it, just spend time in nature by yourself. Go for nature walks, sit in nature, write in nature, just be in nature. Because in nature, you will receive more inspiration and you will return to your own nature. And your nature is spirit. So the next thing is to get in tune with your body. And it's really important to pay attention to what you feel inside of your body, especially in your heart area and in your solar plexus and in your gut, or your solar plexus, I'd say the stomach area, because these are very potent energy centers. And when you ask yourself something, or when you are not sure what to do, just ask yourself a question and pay attention to how you feel in your heart. Does it in your chest? Does it contract or does it expand? Does it feel open? And when it contracts, it's usually a sign that it's not good for you, or that this this thing that this path that you're about to take is not aligned. When it expands, on the other hand, and if it feels light, if there's a fire inside, and if there's just this passion, a good feeling, then that's a indication that your intuition is telling you this is right for you. But not just that. To connect to your intuition, you also have to make sure that you eat right. I'm not telling you what diet to follow. I'm just telling you eat clean as much as possible. Eat good food. Eat nutritious food. Avoid processed food as much as possible. Avoid sugar as much as possible. Avoid things that you know that are not good for you. But I'm not telling, like I said, I'm not telling you what to eat, but just make sure that you eat real natural food and organic as much as possible. But just to make, because your gut feeling is communicating with you. But if your gut isn't clean, then it's hard for you to receive the right message. Then you receive a polluted message. You understand? So it's also important to eat right. And another thing is to move your body. In this society, we sit in front of laptops, we sit on the sofa all day, we're watching TV, and we forgot to move our bodies. But it's in our tribal nature to move. It's important to move your body to express the energy that's inside of you, to release the emotions. Because when you release the trapped emotions, that's how you also raise your frequency. Because when you're anxious, when you're fearful, that's when you can't hear your intuition. That's when you can't hear what's coming through. There's even a saying: prayer is speaking to God, meditation is listening to God. So you receive the message, and God's source, Allah, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. And there's also saying that your intuition is God speaking to you. So when you're in a lower frequency, when you're fearful, when you're anxious, it's hard for you to hear what's inside of you. It's hard to hear your true self coming through because you're holding on to fear. And to return back to God or to the source is returning back to peace. And when you're at peace, you will feel God. So often when you're anxious, when you're fearful, when you just feel tension, you need to release it. You need to release this energy so that you raise your frequency and then ground yourself at the same time again. And then it's easier to meditate. Then it's easier to spend time in solitude. So I would even say before you do anything else, move your body and then come back, and then ground yourself, then sit down to meditate. But really pay attention to your body. Tune in with your body. Tune in to this vehicle that you have, because it's highly intelligent and it gives you so much information if you pay attention to what you feel. And you can simply have the intention to pay more attention to the sensations in your body throughout the day. When you walk into a room, what do you feel? I'm sure you had an experience when you walked into a party and you felt like this is off. Like I'm supposed to leave right now. You just feel the energy in this room is off, and it's not something that you can see. It's not something that you even can hear. Or it's just something that a feeling inside, and that's your intuition speaking to you. And when you listen to it and you leave, usually you avoid something bad, or you just have a more peaceful evening. On the other hand, if you ignore that feeling, usually on the next day you ask yourself, why did I even stay there? I wasted my time. Or even worse, something bad happens. You might get into a conflict, or then something might happen. So really pay attention to these subtle impulses. But again, it's important that you are, first of all, have a clean temple, to treat this temple that you have like a sacred like the sacred temple it is, to eat right, to move your body, and to treat it accordingly. And when you do that, you can tap in easily, more easy, in more easy way with your body. So pay attention to your body, tune in with your body. Another thing is to start writing, because when you write, you tune in with yourself, you tune in with your heart space. And there's even some studies that there's a connection between the heart and the hand. And it's not the same thing when you type something than when you write on paper. Or I suggest write on paper. Some people get these iPads where they write as well. I guess it works, but I love writing on paper because it's just a different connection. And when you do that, you also start to become aware of what's going on inside, because you take your thoughts out of your mind. It helps when you have worries, when you don't know what to do, but it also helps to just get answers, to let your intuition come from, and let it happen, let it be, to let your intuition speak through you on paper, to write through you on paper. And there's a great book, The Artist Way. There's an exercise in that book to write 3 pages every day. And I did this for, I guess, like a year now, and it really changed a lot for me. And it's surprising how you receive so many answers simply by writing. And when you're not sure of something, or when you're not sure what to do, just write these 3 pages. But you have to give yourself some time. I'd say after a week, you get into the rhythm, but you'll notice that after the first page, you get into a flow where you just don't think anymore. You're still thinking, but you are feeling more. And the goal is to not overthink anything. You just write what comes to mind. If you don't know what to write, you say, I don't know what to write today. Then you just observe what you're seeing. There's a bird flying, there's a bus outside, whatever, you know? But when you do that, you also connect to intuition. And there are even some books that have been written by people who channel spirit, like what's it called? I think The Law of Attraction by Esther Hicks. I haven't read the book. But another one which I also haven't read, the Law of One, the raw materials. This, I heard that's also very, very known for that people channeled a message from spirit, or from different realms into this realm, you know. So that's also a powerful thing, to connect to spirit, to connect to your intuition as well. But not even, don't even write to channel something from some different entity or something. Just write to get to know yourself better, because when you get to know yourself better, when you listen to what's going on inside, you get a better understanding of yourself. And that's the only real understanding you need, understanding of yourself, because when you understand yourself, you understand the world better. And when you write in your journal or on paper, I'd suggest get yourself a journal and write in there. Then you also gain more clarity, and you will start to see that it's hard to lie to yourself in a journal, because this is between you and you. You're not writing for to impress someone. This is just your personal entry of what you experience in life and what's going on inside of you. But it's a great way to explore your inner realms, to and to see them, because when you write, you put it on paper and you can actually see it. And one more thing, like when I started writing in a journal, or before I started journaling, I always thought I don't have enough time. I actually had the intention to do it, and I liked writing, but I just didn't see myself doing it for 20 minutes every day. Even 10 minutes seemed a bit hard for me to get into my routine, into my rhythm. And then a friend introduced me to a journaling practice that is easy to do within 3 to 5 minutes. And I included that in my ebook, the 30-day elevation guide, with 3 steps that help me to increase my energy, to find more joyful life, and to get out of the state I was in. I was very depressed and very low on energy a couple of years ago, and very lost in the sauce, so to say. And I took these steps that helped me enormously, so that they can help you too, to just get in tune with your soul. And I've packed that in the ebook. You can get that in the link in the description. But to get back to it, to wrap this off, because we said it's hard to lie to yourself when you write something in your book, in a journal. When you look into the mirror, you also receive a lot of answers. When you speak to yourself in the mirror, it's so powerful, because in your eyes you see your truth. In your eye, there's even they're saying that the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? And when you just stand in front of the mirror and look into your eyes, you see so much. There's so much to be learned from that. There's so much power in that, so much depth in that. And it can even be uncomfortable because you will see if you're off track. You will see if you're not on the right path. You will see if there's something that's paining you inside. You can't run away because you look into your own eyes. You look into yourself. And that's how you can also get in tune with your intuition. Just looking into your eyes in the mirror and then also speaking to yourself in the mirror, expressing what you feel. And it's also important to empower yourself in the mirror, to speak power, and to affirm love in the mirror. Because when you don't love yourself, it's also hard for your intuition to come through. Because remember, your intuition is God speaking to you, and God is love, God is peace, God is happiness. And when you connect to these emotions, when you cultivate these emotions inside of you, that's when it can come for you. That's when you can hear your intuition. That's when you can receive the answers, and that's when you can also return back to your flow, because that's who you are. And when you return back to that, it's a beautiful feeling, you know. But even when you're off track, you also receive intuitions. Sometimes it's just most of the time it's just a subtle impulse, and it's just telling you, hey, this is not right, don't go there. Or hey, this is right, go there, even if it seems completely ridiculous. Sometimes you're in front of two roads, just as an analogy. Sometimes you think it's the best way to go right, and your intuition is telling you go left, even though it seems completely ridiculous. And in these moments, you can either say, "No, that's nonsense," like I ignore that, or you follow it. And usually, when you follow it, from my experience, it always leads you to the best places possible. It always shows you, it always leads you to phenomenal places, and it always gives you everything you need, and it always exceeds your expectations. You receive something that goes beyond your wildest imagination, and you just embrace the mystery, the magic of life, the uncertainty. But that's where the magic happens. So when you hear these subtle impulses, trust them. And the more you trust them, the more you act on them, the more you strengthen this trust with your inner self, with your intuition speaking to you. Because that's when your intuition, basically your intuition is telling you all of these messages, and is always here to guide you. But it gets stronger when you trust it. And the less you trust it, I wouldn't even say it gets weaker, but your trust in it gets weak. And as a result of that, you stop hearing it, or it's hard for it to come through. And when, on the other hand, when you actually listen to it and when you follow through, that's when beautiful things start to open up. That's when you get into flow, and that's when you also feel aligned with your true self, which is so important, to follow a path that feels aligned with you, and to share your gifts with the world, to be a beacon of light to the world. And it's so needed in this time. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Like I said, tap in with yourself, because you have greatness within. And when you connect to your intuition, when you walk your soul path, it's the most fulfilling path that you can walk, because there's a path for all of us, and there's a place for in this world for all of us. And we are here at this time, in this moment, for a reason. And we're all here to fulfill a certain purpose. And when you tap in with yourself, and when you connect to love, when you connect to peace, that's when you will find out what you're here for. And that's when you hear your intuition speaking to you. So connect to your intuition. Remember, go into solitude, spend time in silence, because when you're in peace, you can hear your intuition the most. Move your body, tune into your body, eat right, raise your frequency, because that's when you receive more of you receive the love that's coming through, you know, you receive the right messages. And then also make sure you start writing, or I say do one of those practices. Ideally all of them, but start with one. And also look into the mirror. If you take any of these, I'd say solitude is a must, but second one is, I'd say, is to also look into the mirror, because in the mirror you see so much. In the mirror you see your truth. In the mirror you will see who you are. So be courageous, connect to yourself, connect to your truth, and live your truth, because it's much needed. I'm Law Heru. This is the way of law, and I thank you for your time. Thank you for being here.